once every 8 episodes I decide to say, welcome to Diary of a Teenage Diva, where I, Penny Shaw, read my own teenage diaries to a variety of guests. And today's guest for August 1986 is...
Matthew Coomber, your neighbour on the same street.
Yep, I can hear your bracelets clanking.
Can you? Okay.
I can hear your man jewellery.
I'll take them out.
That's all right, just take one off, because
Yeah,
they were clanking against each other.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing what you can hear with these headphones. I'm so professional. Anyway, which takes us to the middle of my French fantasy holiday on August the 1st, 1986. Oh my God, this is the longest day ever. Shit. I tell
Pages and pages.
Well, this is a very, so we might just get to the end of the holiday before we lose the will to live, and then I'll do another episode because it's obviously had nothing else to do on holiday rather than write. Friday, August the 1st. Weather looked more hopeful. Let's start with the weather, obviously, because I'm English. Weather looked more hopeful this morning, so we decided to go to the beach. Nobody could decide which one to go to, Mizan or Biscarrosse. So they asked me to decide, and after much consideration, I suggested Minziman. I don't know what. Minibazazan. Immediately, everyone else said, "Right, okay, let's go to Biscarrosse." How rude! Biscarrosse, as it turned out, was fantastic. The beach was absolutely massive. It stretched for miles and miles of gorgeous fine white sand that squeaked when you walked on it.
Oh, a bit like here.
Very much like here. It's the dream. There was a yellow flag up, which meant that you could bathe, but it was a bit iffy. The lifeguard kept yelling out warnings through the loudspeaker, and you could only swim between 2 flags.
Ooh, fancy that.
And people were probably wearing boardies. Did you like that?
I did, yes. I thought that was very funny.
But when did you first have sported a pair of board shorts?
Here,
in Australia.
For the first time. And it took me a while to work my way into them too, because I like you.
Oh, because they're very tight.
I was a budget... No. That's right.
Vaseline.
Trying to get into them. No, I like you as a budgie smuggler.
Yeah. Well, that's all there was. But maybe in 86, worldwide, they were just coming into fascione. When we ventured into the sea, we found that it was freezing, especially compared to the warm lake. The waves were huge and fluffy. It was just too hot to sunbathe or eat. So we came to a happy compromise and played volleyball with some incredibly cool-looking Germans. Ha, on the rampage once again. After a while, though, we came to the conclusion that they were rather boring. So we went swimming again. I read most of the time from then on and got extremely sunburnt, as did everyone else.
Perfect.
We came off the beach at about 6:30. It was still scorching. We walked round the town, which was brilliant. Lots of tiny shops selling jewellery and millions of gorgeous tanned blokes, all unattached.
Ooh,
Why the hell aren't we camping there? Hill and I decided we'll come back one day. Saturday the 2nd of August. Went into boring old Parentis this morning and changed some equally boring money into francs. Oh, francs.
I know.
French francs.
I know.
The only bright spot was that I had to get out my passport, and we had a good giggle at my photograph. No matter how many times I see it, I still laugh.
Do you still have your passport?
Yeah, I think my mum's got that one, and it is really funny. It was a school photo, and I was covered in spots and had the mullet haircut and a really stupid expression and my school uniform. So I think when we were feeling a bit low, we would just crack out the passport, as it said. That's the only bright spot.
Love it.
Spend the day on the beach of the lake. Actually spent most of my time in the water because the sun was too strong after yesterday. Because water famously keeps the sun out.
Totally. It's a sunscreen, isn't it? You just have to stay a centimetre under the surface at all times.
Yeah, and we wouldn't have had rashes.
No.
Tanning lotion is what we had. And my mum was a great fan of the ombre solaire. She liked us to get a nice healthy tan, as she called it.
Oil.
You just slap the oil all over yourself and then fry up. Now comes the amazing epic, full of passion and rejection. The Wimp in the Lake. Anonymous. I've written a story.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Come on, I want to know what happens.
Sit down. Are you sitting comfortably? The beautiful young nymph was drifting gently in the reeds, just giving an idle stroke now and again to accentuate the long elegance of her milky arms. It could go really filthy, Matt.
It could.
Anyway,
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm bracing myself.
I'm not sure I am. Suddenly, she felt a prickling feeling on her neck, and she knew that somebody was watching her. She looked behind her, and there, trying to look unobtrusive, was the Wimp. Then I put, okay, that's enough of that. I must admit I'm over-dramatising it slightly. Well, you see, this Wimp followed me all the way around the lake and finally came and asked me the time.
Oh,
How corny.
how disappointing.
Disappointing. I said that I was English, but I told him the time anyway and swam off fast. He sat in the water as I crawled back to Hilary. There, that wouldn't really have made a very good Mills and Boon now, would it?
I love it.
Were you a bit of a holiday romance time?
I went on a family holiday with Evan Davis. He and I were best friends at school, Dorking Grammar, 76. We went down to the Durdle Door, but he was not interested in girls.
Oh. Well, surely
was
that
a
should have
camping
left
holiday.
the way open for you.
Well, yes.
Was he
'cause
not a very good wingman?
No wingman action at all. And that was that 76, that was that ridiculously hot summer.
I remember it. I was 5. We were allowed to stay up late. I remember sitting in our paddling pool in the dark, so it must have been, 10:30, 11 at night if it was dark, and eating cherries.
Yeah, fantastic.
It's one of my favourite childhood memories that summer. Just loved it. No wonder I moved to Australia. Denny and Natalie came down and we all went out in the boat, the dinghy. Then I felt like doing something silly, so I swam off and found a surfboard with 3 frogs on it, and I talked to them.
Oh, I was thinking frogs, but no, you mean French people. That's right.
And it was a term of endearment.
Absolutely, as all of those horribly racist terms were in those days.
Then Hilary came over too, but after a bit we got bored and went away. Then Hill and I went and slapped the old makeup on, ready for le bal. A bal is a kind of general knees up for everybody, but mainly young people, like an outdoor disco on the beach. There was masses of people there, and eventually we managed to persuade M and D, my dad, to let us stay until 1, which is when it finished. There was simply loads of gorgeous blokes there. Hill and I shook hands and decided to go for it at all costs. Hill soon spotted the one she was after, and we played a very strategic appearing and disappearing games. We were getting all the right looks from everyone, mainly due to the fact that Hill was only wearing a shirt, and undies, and I was wearing my blue skirt, which is even shorter than Hill's shirt. Oh, the days of the shirt dress. Yes. We were prancing around in the middle when some bloke came up and asked us our age. We told them. By this time, others had swarmed up, and they were totally amazed that we were so young. Stop it. The one that I had my eye on obviously had his eye on me too. But he didn't speak English.
But don't you speak French at this point?
A little bit, un petit peu.
Un petit peu.
We were all talking when Hill's chosen one suddenly appeared on the scene. We were all dancing, Hill and Henri opposite each other, but this other bloke, Florence, sounds like a girl, but I've put a question mark afterwards. Yeah, Florence, maybe, Florent, was getting in the way. It was rather amusing. Then they started playing a slow dance. Mine, Thierry, not that Thierry, asked me to dance. Great, everything was going according to plan. But Florent asked Hilary. She accepted and danced almost at arm's length. I was wetting myself. She was pulling such awful faces. As soon as the dance ended, she leapt away and Henri grabbed her and whispered seductively in her ear, "Will you go out with me?" The reply was somewhat stifled, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
But no talk of your exploits.
No. Well, meanwhile, I was watching the drama and enjoying myself. He smelt absolutely gorgeous. Okay, so I'm obviously close enough to sniff.
Yeah, okay.
My man, I've no recollection of this. He was wearing 3/4 length jeans.
Ooh, culottes.
Well, probably more like those short pants that everyone wears now.
Weird.
Yeah, those ones where you're like, do you want to just get some pants that fit?
Were they your brothers?
Have you grown recently? 3/4 length jeans, trainers, a turquoise jumper with a faded denim jacket. Yum.
Wow.
Oh, I'm not sure about turquoise and denim.
A jumper?
A jumper? I thought it was hot. We danced a lot and everyone looked at us. Then they decided to go to the beach about 10 yards from the dance floor. And we all sat on a wall and talked. I've put talked in brackets, question mark, exclamation mark. I don't know why I've gone all coy. Was I snogging him or not?
We don't know, do we?
Come on, spill the beans.
Turn the page.
It was a warm evening, and so Hill and I decided we would paddle dans le lac. We were standing in the edge of the lake quite peacefully, and the boys decided to join us. They took off their trousers. They were wearing lovely swimmers underneath.
Oh, they came prepared.
Yeah. Well, you would. I mean, that's like going down to the South Beach here.
Suppose.
You know, you'd probably have your bathers on, wouldn't you?
Maybe they weren't bathers at all, Penny.
Maybe they weren't. Ooh.
Ooh.
It was all nice and peaceful. See picture at end.
Ooh.
What? And the diary. Oh, I've drawn a
That's a
little
lovely
picture.
little ballpoint pen sketch.
It is.
And reflexion.
Réflexion dans le lac. It was all very peaceful. When some pukey, horrible bloke who I didn't know ran up and pushed me over. I could not believe it. I was drenched. Hill, being a true friend, dashed out of the lake to the awaiting Henri, leaving me to fend for myself. He picked me up and started carrying me towards another puny bloke. I kicked him and marched out of the water. I was not amused. I was also rather cold and wanted someone to lend me a jumper, but Thierry's had got so wet it was no good. Some other boy obliged though, and I removed my t-shirt, saucy, and put his black jumper on. Meanwhile, Thierry was putting his trousers back on, and I was being slightly cool towards him because he didn't rescue me from the lake. Chivalry. Still, I forgave him eventually when he stood below me, I was on the wall, and held his hands out to me, looking so beseeching I couldn't help flinging myself on him. God. Then I put, slight exaggeration.
Yeah, I love it.
I forgot to say before this, yet another bloke was chatting me up. He asked me to sit down next to him, but I said I had a wet skirt, so he told me to take it off.
Ooh.
He insisted I'd look more beautiful like that. By this time, Hill and Henri had gone in search of glowworms, or something like that, further along the beach. Look for glowworms. As it happened, they weren't alone. The beach was littered with entwined bodies, just faintly lit by starlight. Sigh.
And glowworms.
It was so romantic. The lake was lapping gently at the sandy beach. The cicadas were singing. I was looking into Thierry's enormous, deep, almost black eyes. It must have been the dilated pupils. Well done, Penny. You just ruined the slushy atmosphere. Gallantly, he removed his jacket and laid it on the sand for me to sit on. My chevalier. That's a spoon. We both sat on it, then somehow fell backwards, so we were lying on the sand. He wasn't wearing anything on his top half at all.
Steamy.
So I warmed my... I know, I am blushing. So I warmed my cold hands on his muscly back.
Oh.
He was lovely. I really can't describe it. Most of me was dry by this time, except for the inside of my legs, where the water, and can I stress, water, was still dripping.
Oh.
He seemed to like this a lot. Oh dear! He also liked the back of my neck damp as well. It came to 1 o'clock all too soon. Chris and Terry Monte, the other Terry, were waiting for us in the enclosure. What does that mean? My Terry and Florent walked us home. When we got to the camping, I changed out of my borrowed jumper and said, ? A long goodbye.
Oh,
well,
so no, there's definitely
Florent...
snogging going on there.
Yeah.
For sure.
I was definitely snogging when I was on my back on that beach with my moist crotch. My moist gusset.
Oh, that's my least favourite word in the entire world.
Gusset. Gusset.
I cannot
moist
stand that
gusset.
word. Moist, that's fine.
Oh, okay.
Gusset, no.
Okay. All right.
Sorry.
It wasn't in the diary. I'm just saying it now. Now I know it's annoying you. I'm going to continue. It was a long goodbye. Florent paced up and down and coughed. Never will we see him again. But it was well worth all the effort. Effort, presumably being having picked our victim and honed in.
And gone for them.
Oh, dear Lord.
Those
And that was
boys.
the 2nd of August. My clothes were still wet this morning. Oh, dear. Had to break the news of my dip to Mother, who laughed, eventually. My dip in the lake. We packed up everything and departed from the manky campsite to which we had grown quite attached. We drove all day, just stopping for lunch. Reached our destination this evening and pitched in a campsite by a river. There was a fishing fete going on, actually in the campsite. We walked around and looked at people. We didn't have much food with us, so we ate sausage and chips bought from the fete. Later this evening, we went into town and walked around. There was nothing happening. There are some people camping next to us who are travelling on a tandem. Hill and I want to do that next year. It looks brilliant fun. Oh, God, he never did.
No.
Dangerous. There are also 3 Helgas living near us. 3 Dutch girls, all with long, blonde, wavy hair. We played boule, and I won.
Now you have to have a drink.
Then I pretended I was Lady Macbeth, and Hill had a laughing fit.
So how do you know Hill?
She was my best friend from preschool ballet.
Right. Okay.
So I don't really remember not knowing her. She
Right.
was one of those. I think we met when we were 2.
Yeah.
Monday, the 4th of August. Got up early this morning and washed our hair in cold water. Then we packed up and left. We wanted to go shopping in Rouen, which is a large town. We arrived at about 12. The town was gorgeous, very old, and there were loads of narrow cobbled streets, pedestrian precincts. We looked in thousands of little shops and then stopped for lunch in a hamburger place. That's very French.
Really getting into the local cuisine.
Yeah,
I like
that's right. Hill found a gorgeous pair of baggy, faded jeans, French style, in a sale for 20 quid. So she bought them. And I found some white shoes for £20, reduced from 40. That's actually quite a lot when you think about, like, nowadays you would pay £20 for a pair of jeans or a pair of shoes in the UK.
Second hand?
Well, even new, you'd get Primark.
Oh, okay, Primark.
Reduced from £40. They're white with rounded toes, and a gathered leather elasticated strap across them. They sound disgusting.
I think I had a pair like that when I was 4. You know those little sandals?
Yeah. Little Mary Janes
rounded
with
toes,
the little,
and a
Mary
little
Janes.
elasticated leather strap.
White. Oh no, gathered leather. Ooh, I bought them. A drunk came and asked Mum for some money so he could have a shave. She pretended she didn't understand and kept saying, "I'm waiting for my husband." After we'd finished shopping, we carried on towards Calais. Oh, so we're going home. And stopped to camp. Went out to dinner this evening in a restaurant in town. I had lasagna and it was delicious. It was a very nice last night. Sniff. I don't want to go home.
So that is the end of your camping holiday?
That is the end of the holiday. Tuesday the 5th of August. Drove into Calais and found a hypermarket.
Oh.
That's the dream. Those hypermarkets in France.
I remember those. They were so exciting.
So exciting.
So huge.
Can't not have had any equivalent.
No, we didn't. Remember people used to go across the channel and buy the little cheap beers and the...
You know what? They still do.
Do they?
Yeah. And cigarettes now. We bought chocolate as prezzies for our friends. And there were some gorgeous bracelets, one of which I tried on and set the alarm off. How embarrassing. Our hovercraft was delayed by 40 minutes due to bad weather.
God, I remember those hovercrafts. Oh,
it was the quickest.
Absolutely disgusting.
Why?
Oh, you were contained...
It's just like being in a plane,
You were contained in that little box that just stank of diesel and other people's vomit. And it was a 40-minute crossing. If there was any weather at all... It was just the most shuddery, noisy, disgusting way of getting across.
I think they've retired them now. They don't do them anymore.
I hope so.
I survived the journey without throwing up by singing Hunting High and Low by Aha all the way, which is a good cure for seasickness.
Well, I'm not sure I agree with that.
What, the Aha or the singing? Singing is very good for seasickness.
Is it?
Yeah, I still
regulates
abide by
your
that.
breathing.
It does. Went to Granny's for a very welcome lunch. This afternoon we went for walkies on the beach. Yuck. It was drenched with puny white yucky bodies. There ought to be a law against it. And welcome back to the UK.
There is something about the French beach which is very different from the English beach. My final year of school, about 10 of us took off when driver's licenses were just being issued. 10 of us took off down to San Rafael. And my God, it was just fantastic. It was a completely different species of people on the beach.
The beautiful people.
Oh, gorgeous. I remember all the girls were really brown, but had beautiful pink lips. I don't know how that worked. They were just gorgeous. Plump. Moist.
Gusseted.
Oh, no, don't you ruin the picture now. You ruined the picture.
Oh, there you go. So that's the end of the Red Diary, because next it's Ranger Camp, which is in October.
So this was your travel diary.
Yeah, my travel diary in 86. 87, England, France, Germany, Switzerland, Austria, Italy, Switzerland, France, England.
Wow. I'm happy just sticking with the holiday.
Yeah, great.
Was that enough for you, Penny?
No, it's plenty. There's a lot of content in that.
Yes.
In that, whatever it is, week of left of the holiday.
It was a very exciting last few days.
I'd turn the microphone off, but I'm turning it back on again because the listeners need to know this, Matt. Where's the most unusual place that you have? Come on, tell me.
On the top of Sydney Harbour Bridge.
I just can't believe that you managed to get up there and then got up there.
It was a thing to do in the 80s. It
Was
was a thing to do, yes.
The Mile High Club or something?
Not the shagging, the getting up on the top of the bridge.
Oh, I see. I thought you meant it was like a
No.
rite of passage to have sex on the top of Sydney Harbour Bridge. Wow.
It was very exciting.
And
a fabulous view, of course.
Thank you for listening to Diary of a Teenage Diva, written and produced by me, Penny Shaw. Theme music by the wonderful Finn Pearson. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I am at diary_of_a_. diva_podcast.